Alright, welcome back. We've got another deck profile of the day. Again, for the Digimon card game. This seems to be quite popular, seems to be requested, and seems to get the most feedback as far as videos overall. So we'll make a couple more of these as we go. I've been playing a lot of this, so it just makes a lot of sense. Now this is going to be a follow-up to the video that we did in regards to the new sort of fan set that I had made of the vintage templating of the original card game, if you will, where we took cards from the later sets and made them look a little more like the newer cards. And this is going to be a deck built around some of the lines from that. So let's just get into it without any further ado here. We are going to run three rookies in this deck. We've got Veemon, who is our primary starting Digimon. You'll always want to start as this guy. 180, 250, 320 is not fantastic stats, but he's red, and you've got a lot of ways to get off of this level, so hopefully you won't be here too long. We do run Wormmon as well. The deck is based around Imperial Dramon, so having Wormmon for that half of the chain is important too. 170, 260, 330, still not bad stats, is a yellow, so we have a little bit of variety there. And then we have to run Agumon. The deck does require a DNA Digivolve to Metal Greymon just to make one of the forms easier to get to. So running Agumon gives us the opportunity to get into that level if we have to. 380 is a decent yellow stat. He's red again. If we get into the champions, there's going to be 4 of them in this deck. We are going to run Magnamon. The movie promo, we actually get to play him in this deck, and he is fantastic now that there's actually cards that let you use him. He has a special effect that you void your opponent's special abilities and all of their opponent's power option cards. You also get to add 50 points to your Digimon power every time you offline a card from your hand. Now those are 2 separate skills. That's actually been reviewed in a Q&A by Bandai once they kind of took the game over. Back in some old threads, people were asking about that. So his special effect to void opponent's special ability and power option cards is a static effect, and then you can add 50 points to your effect by discarding, to your power by discarding a card. 260, 430, 470. He has incredibly strong stats for a champion, and really, there's a lot of games where you'll just stay right here. Being able to void every card your opponent plays and then make your power higher just by discarding cards is huge. If you're only staying at a champion level, it doesn't matter that you're discarding cards to draw more, because even if you're burning through your deck, it's not going to be a problem. We do have Veemon. He is just the natural form for the Veemon starter that we use. He also can be pulled off of Agumon, which isn't bad. Special effect, add 30 points to your Digimon power when confronting a Insectoid Digimon. Not hugely important, but does come up. Stingmon is the sort of inverse of that, Wormmon and Agumon, and has a special effect, get 50 points against a Dinosaur Digimon. Comes up a little more often than Insectoid, but still not super often, but still a good choice, especially if you're in the Wormmon lane. Of course, like I said, we do have to run Greymon in here as well. Agumon offline 2 cards. This is the only way to get into Greymon is through Agumon, which is kind of a bummer. But decent stats. 420 is really strong against yellow, especially for a champion. But we'll see. This one doesn't come up too often, but you do need it if you have any hopes to go into, as we can see here, the ultimate in the deck, or one of them anyway, Metal Greymon. This deck doesn't run Veedramon, it runs Veedramon, so you can't actually play that off of him, so it's only Greymon, only way to get there. 290, 440, 440, decent stats. You're not going to play this guy very often. Normally he'll be used for DNA Digivolving into the Mega. We have Dino-Beamon, a DNA Digivolve with Stingmon and Veemon. Does give you 60 points to your power every time you offline a rookie, so you can make him a little bit stronger. He's an option if you get there, if you get stuck. You don't want to go this way though, because you can't get off this stage if you to get into your Mega. So don't play this unless you have to, but if you get stuck here, you do have an optional card, an optional way out of the deck. Really what you want to do though is you want to get Pale Dramon. You're going to DNA Digivolve from Veemon and Stingmon. You get 50 points when you confront a Mega, so he's even better against stronger Digimon, which is great. And we'll be using him to go into the Mega in the deck, which is Imperial Dramon Dragon mode. Now this is a DNA Digivolve with Pale Dramon and Metal Greymon. So again, you're not really going to play Metal Greymon. The goal is just to DNA Digivolve him here. He has a special effect that you score 200 points when digivolving to this Digimon. Then you double your Digimon power anytime you fight a Armor Digimon who is digivolved with a Digi-Egg. Now this doesn't come up super often in the sets 1 through 2, whatever format. But if you're using the fan cards like I'm using, or the full 6 sets where this guy would have originally came from, that's a fantastic effect, and is much more usable. We do run one last Mega. It is the Imperial Dramon Fighter mode, who you just lay down on top of the Imperial Dramon Dragon mode, as long as it's on the dual zone. You get 480, 600, 630. Its effect is void all of your opposing Digimon special effects, and then you triple your power if you send an Omnimon card from your hand offline. Now you can do that. This deck does not run Omnimon, although there really is no real reason not to. You won't be able to play him ever, but being able to use him for that effect is fantastic, to be able to just triple the power there. I do have one of him that we could use, but the deck is already running 12 Digimon, 3, 6, 9, 12, which is more than I like. I like to be right around 10, 11 maybe. So if we get into 13, that's really cutting down on the rest of the deck, and I don't like to go there unless I have to. So to have a card whose sole purpose is just to be thrown away, I'm not a big fan of that. If we get into the special cards in the deck, of course the 3 red, green, yellow offensives, you run these in every deck, no reason not to. They just change your battle type to whatever you need. Having these in your hand can absolutely be the difference between winning or losing a duel. Another one of the new cards that we've got here is Shining Digivolution. You digivolve any Digimon to the next level, regardless of Digivolve requirements. Place the card face down on a power port, and then play the next one on the Digivolve zone. To do this, you send 2 cards from your hand offline. So this card is essentially Ultra Digivolve, but you discard 2 cards instead of your entire hand. It's just a sort of power corrupt version of that card, and is a fantastic add. Plus, if you really had to, you could run Ultra Digivolve too, and now it just gives you another option to get that. We do have the Digi-Egg of Miracles, which is a new card type for this formatting, so we had to kind of come up with how this was going to look. I'm really happy with it. Digi-Egg is the type, Miracles is the specific egg. Use this card to digivolve to a Digimon that needs the Digi-Egg of Miracles. Use it just like a Digivice. This lets you go into the Magnamon if you get there. Digivice Red and Crest Tag. Now we only run the one Digivice because we have a single Digimon who needs a Digivice, and that is the the Metal Greymon, who needs a red Digivice. He's the only Digimon we have in the deck that uses a Digivice, so if we have to get to that stage, we at least have the card to do so. Crest Tag and the corresponding tags. This is another option to send a champion to an ultimate, which is just a fantastic choice, but as long as this card's on the board, the individual crest tags, Friendship, Courage, Reliability, and Sincerity all have their effects increased. By default, these all add 50 points to your Digimon power. I think every deck should run these as long as it's got the room to do so, and then they've got additional effects. Get an additional 100 points to your score, 50 extra points, and change your type to acquire, you get Fly, and an additional 50 points to your green power. Not the most useful one, but extra 50 points is an extra 50 power. Add this card, you get an extra 50 points towards your power and 50 points towards your power. So this is just it's essentially Black Gears as long as you've got a crest tag on the board. And Sincerity gives you 50 points to your power, and if you digivolve, you score an additional 50 points. So as long as you digivolve this turn, it's another copy of Black Gears. Power Freeze, the absolute must in every deck. Void opponent's digivolve or force effects card. Fantastic card. Option Eater, the only other card that I would say is absolutely staple. These 2 cards have to be in every deck you play. There's no reason not to run these. I think it's almost bad to not run these. They're that good. Void a Digivolve or special or force effects. This one is void a Power Blaster or force effects. So this voids the Digivolve. This card voids this. This is your answer to this card. This is your answer to anything else your opponent's going to do. You have to run them. Black Gears, add 100 points to your Digimon power. Free 100 points is just fantastic. No, why would you not run a free 100 points? Now this is an option card. I like Pluck. If you fight in a Digimon will fly, you score 200 points, and you just continue the duel. It's a fun way to bait void cards out of your opponent's hand. It's also a fun way to, if you're doing some other stuff, it gives you a way to kind of just burn cards without needing to worry about really what they're doing. We do have a downgrade here. Downgrade either your champion or your opponent's champion to rookie. Place this card on the power port and send either your champion or your opponent's champion offline. To use this, you send one card in your hand offline. And this is just a fantastic card to this can be the difference between winning and losing a duel as well. Just lowering your Digimon or your opponent's Digimon can be huge. I know I just got a copy of this in the mail literally today from a fan. Incredibly happy to have received that. But the foil version of these, in this game when they do the foil copies, they all have their effects slightly altered. The foil version downgrades a ultimate to a champion. So I'm going to be putting that in here. I think that's just a cooler version of the effect. It's a little more powerful. And I think it's just awesome, especially in a deck where we want to ride out being Magnamon. Being able to keep your opponent at a champion level is really strong. Even Steven, stop the duel. All Digimon remain on the duel zone and all power option cards go offline. No points are scored. This is an awesome card. If you just know you're going to lose, play this, score your free 200 points, play this, end the duel, start over, see how it goes. Just a great way out. Fantastic card if you need it. It's also a fun way to make your opponent burn cards. If they're going first, if they won the last fight, you can make your opponent play a card. Then you play any one of your other cards. They play another power option, and then you play this one as the last thing. It just ends the duel. You both burned 2 cards. Maybe they burned 2 really good cards out of their hand, and you played, pluck. So it's a great combo there. And lastly, we have counterattack. When confronting an opponent with a higher Digivolve level, double the number of your Digimon power until end of turn. I think this is a great card for a lot of decks. Specifically, in this deck, there's a fun little combo with Paildramon, where he gets extra 50 points to your Digimon power when confronting Omega. So you can take your 460 to 510, and then up it to 1020, because Omega's a higher level than your Ultimate. So that's just a fun little thing you can do there. 440, you go up to 490, up to, what is that, 980. So you can really just kind of beef this guy up a lot. You can essentially turn your 50 into 100 with this card, so very powerful effect. But that is the last card in the deck. Thank you again for hanging out and checking out another Digimon deck profile. I know this one's a little bit unique in the sense that not everyone could build this, and it's not, I guess you wouldn't technically call it legal in that the cards aren't technically real, but we decided to make some fan cards. It's a dead card game anyway. I mean, why not have a little fun with it? We decided to take cards, and at least these cards, they do exist. You could actually play this Veemon. It would just look a little different, but it would have the same stats, same effects and everything. So this is a deck you could actually build if you're playing the full 6-set format, but if you're just playing sets 1 or 2 or whatever, this wouldn't technically be legal. But if you're just playing with friends, it's a blast. The deck is really cool. The Veemon line is awesome, and really, just getting to play Magnamon is fantastic. This is one of the, I think, least playable promos in the entire movie promo set. Although really, every one of them is almost unplayable. But it's nice to be able to play this guy. His effect is just incredible, and being able to just ride this level out feels great. I do have one more deck upcoming here. It's going to be a water deck profile, so we'll go into that. We haven't covered, I don't think, honestly, a single water type deck on this channel yet, so we'll have that coming in the near future here. And then we'll have one more using some more of the fan cards for a Guilmon line into War Growlmon and that kind of thing. But for now, thanks for hanging out, thanks for checking it out. Stick around for more content. There will of course be more Digimon. We're going to introduce a new game with the next video, I think, and one of these days the world will turn around on its head and we'll be able to actually get out of our house and play with some people in person. So that'll be awesome, and when that comes, there will be some gameplay. We'll try to do a little bit more Skype gameplay videos in the future too. That seemed to be relatively well received, so we'll see how that goes. But for now, thanks for hanging out, and until next time.